welcome to Let's Fly VFR. Today we're looking at Plane 11 11.40. Don't forget to subscribe and visit letsflyvfr.com, and we're going to have a look at some tail draggers, some watercraft. We're going to check out some turboprops, jet fighters, airliners, and we've got some helicopters in there too. So let's have a look at what this 11.40 is all about. I think everybody needs to send a big shout out to Austin Myers for his programming on this one. This has been an immense change the way these aircraft fly. So what has changed? This is purely an aerodynamic update. So what has happened is, in the world of real aviation and airflow, the air that flows over the wing and then strikes the tailplane, as well as the prop wash that comes back from the prop on piston aircraft and turboprops, it's not instantaneous, and I'm sure we would all understand that. So the air takes some time before it goes from the prop to the wing back to the tailplane, and over the period of time, that and the backwash just of the airflow over the wings onto tailplanes has caused the aircraft to be a little bit probably more jittery than they should be. They should be a lot smoother, and I'm going to tell you, they are a lot smoother right now. So you can download 11.40 if you want, or you can wait until it's in beta release. You need to go to Austin Myers' own website to download it when I've got this. It's not general release, so you know, if you're not worried about it too much, hang off and see how you go. But I've got to tell you that this Steinman, if I get the name right, flew just incredibly differently, and especially on the ground with the tail dragger configuration, it was still a lot easier. Now you still have to dance a lot on the rudders on this thing, but it just felt a lot more confident than it did previously. So yeah, look, this has just made a big difference to the way your aircraft fly, and I'm sure everyone that, well, you're all going to get it eventually. If you're patient, it might be best to wait, but once it's all out and released, you're going to find a big difference, I believe, in your Plane 11. It's a big change. So things are, again, just smooth on it. So it's that airflow, the time lapse, it takes just moments, but it does seem to make a big difference to the way the aircraft feels as you're flying it along, guys. So you're going to enjoy it. So that'll be relevant to all fixed-wing aircraft. Now, one of the next changes that has occurred, and doesn't it look really nice? These are all stock aircraft, guys. They're all stock or freebie aircraft that you get. I'm using today. Now, this one is one of the big changes you will see visually, because a lot of these things you don't see visually. But this is the Akoya, and this is a watercraft. So we're going to just run out here quickly and land on the water. And if you've ever flown this or any other seacraft and landed on the water, you'll know how ridiculous it looked. It was just tossed around all over the damn place, and it was just ridiculous, to be honest. It was just terrible. But as you're about to see, the world again has changed dramatically with this once we put this aircraft down in the water. It is smooth. The whole wave, the way the waves are created, they're not, if you like, they're not a pointed wave anymore. It's not a series of triangles anymore. They're rounded, and it just bounces in the water like you would expect it to. It's bloody amazing, I've got to tell you. The differences to the way this was, because I've flown this around here and out at Marshmallow Fisheries, which is where we are, and over at Allen Burrows, and landed these things around, and I've got to tell you, it wasn't very good. So this is now, I would say, at least hundreds of % better. Now look at the way that just rides the water. It is smooth. It doesn't bounce. It doesn't tilt. It doesn't get thrown around like it's been hit by a giant or something stupid, you know. Look how it sits there. Just bobbles up and down, which is what you get when you sit in a boat, or if you're sitting in an aircraft like this on water with just very low waves. Now we get to have a look from the inside. I think you'll see that it is fairly natural. Maybe the trailing of the way that's drawn that could do some work, but it's not crucial. We don't really care. We care how it flies and how it sits. So, and we're just getting back off the ground again, off the water. That is a big change if you fly anything that lands on the water, guys. Now, one of the other changes that's come with the helicopters is really, again, there's two things. There's the way the wash from the rotors operates on the aircraft. So it goes down, yes, we all know that. But as the aircraft moves forward, it is left behind as well. So it sort of bows backwards, if you can picture that as a bending line from the rotors and down. And the other thing that has changed is as the air moves over the rotors, it's most efficient at the front and becomes less efficient at the back of the rotors as the air moves across it. And I am bloody terrible flying this, guys. I'm not going to show you my terrible crash at the end. You're going to have to wait for another video, and maybe I'll fly it around some more. But look, these are incredibly hard. Anybody that flies helicopters for real and in X-Plane or probably in the other sim, my hat goes off to you, because it is difficult to do and it requires a lot of practice, even in a sim. You know, it's hard work. But it has made, I think, the flying of the helicopters a little bit better. But being I don't fly them very often, it's hard to give you a really accurate feel on what it's like. So if you fly helicopters a bit and you get the 11.40 even in beta or once it becomes in full release, would love to hear from you. Please leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think of the way the helicopter now flies after these aerodynamic changes. Now, I was really surprised. It was quite a large download. When it comes to code, the amount of work that's gone into this, I think, is pretty substantial. So send Austin a big thank you for all his work and the team there at Lamina. Again, just the airflow was going to come down and flow backwards as you move through. Now, this is an interesting one as well, something that he talks about. There is a video out there with him talking about all these changes. One of the big things that was not taken into account, especially on turboprops, is that big exhaust. Now, it was said initially and believed by everyone for quite a while that these really didn't provide any thrust or didn't do anything practical. Yeah, the air that came out of it was all, but it was pointed out to Austin that there was a lot of thrust actually created by these exhaust ports, and it turns out there's about 10% of the thrust of the engine comes out of there. So that's now incorporated. Now, one of the things when you fly fighters is you can see that the fuselage line, how it's thicker at the front, it narrows in the center, and then it comes back out again. This is all part of what's called the area rule, and it helps fighter aircraft, especially when they're going transonic to supersonic. It helps the airflow across the wing. Now, I'm not an aerodynamicist, so I'm not going to give you all the ins and outs because I really don't get it all. But the way it narrows there allows the air to expand, is my understanding. And what it does, it helps the flow over the wing as the aircraft goes into supersonic flight. It helps the airflow across there and makes it really smooth, whereas it can be a real battle to get through that supersonic barrier itself. So that's another thing that's changed. Whether you can actually test it and feel it, I don't know. Now, I've been fortunate to fly supersonic in jet fighters in the real world as a passenger, but when it comes to flying these things in the sim, I don't know whether you're going to notice the difference, but it is something that is there. And then we get on to the airliners. Now, the airflow from all the bits that I've talked about previously, especially the delay in the air, even coming from the jet, moving backwards from the wings, moving across and down the fuselage and hitting the tailplane, is another thing that's been fine-tuned a great deal. And it's said that the actuation of the flaps and the slats will be a lot smoother. The drag has been dealt with a lot better. So it'll be it's going to feel a lot more realistic, I think. If you've ever had a chance to fly maybe a big boy sim and try it out, it should feel a lot better as you move into these. And I did think it was a lot nicer to fly, and I don't fly jets very often. Now, the other thing is those big wingtips at the end, those vortices, they have also been dealt with by this upgrade to our aerodynamics within X-Plane 11. and they are recognised a lot better. One of the faults that was there was for aircraft that had T-tails. The sim was looking at the T-tail as a vortice barrier, if you like, even though it wasn't out on the wingtips. So that's been sorted out. So your wingtips, where they bend up here, will actually work a lot better, is my understanding. In aircraft that don't have them, there will be more drag generated because they're not there, because that's what they do. They stop the vortices, that circular air that comes off the wingtip as the air flows off the end, and creates a lot of aerodynamic drag. So there's a hell of a lot happening out there, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this little quick introduction to it. It's one of those things that you need to get out and discover for yourself. Whatever you normally fly, I would really love to hear from you. You know, if you fly jets and you're feeling that it's flying a lot smoother and it's not quite so sitting on a baseball, if you like, and just rocking and tilting around, but it's become a lot smoother. Now please let me know, you know, if it's helicopters, if it's gliders, if it's jets, if it's just GA, then yeah, let me know. I'd love to know how you feel about it as well. So that pretty much wraps it up. Hope you've enjoyed that little look at all the different types of aircraft we have available in X-Plane. Please remember to subscribe if you like the videos. It's always great to have you guys along with us. And X-Plane and Let's Fly VFR.com is still out there, so if you're looking to get some new gear for your sim, please consider having a look in there and help the channel out a little bit. It doesn't cost you any extra, and I'll see you again next time.